10, including a couple of 1-0 losses the last 2 games. And if you look at the numbers for this team offensively over these last 10 games, they're rather stark from where they were before.
You know, they came out of spring training thinking of 2 words: selectively aggressive. And let's walk through these numbers. You can see, of course, they're not scoring as many runs, the average is down, et cetera, et cetera. But the other ones that are really important, swing at pitches out of the strike zone. What is happening to this team is that they've been getting behind, and what's happening against especially good pitching teams like the Washington Nationals, who know where to put that pitch when they get ahead, especially breaking pitch, to really put the hitters away. So they've been swinging at more pitches out of the strike zone, getting behind, not hitting with 2 strikes. Little things that, well, not little things, big things that they were doing in such a great way in the early homestand.
So they've had a day off to try and get themselves righted. They also have Wilmer Flores back in the lineup today. He sat out the last couple of games trying to clear his head both defensively and offensively. And the Mets have been making little moves to try to improve the offense. The latest, bringing up a 3rd catcher, left-hand hitting Johnny Manel from Las Vegas.
Well, I think it's been pretty obvious the entire season so far that the Mets needed a little more pop from the left side on the bench. Also gives you a 3rd catcher so you can hit Monel or Anthony Recker late in the game. And Terry Collins was even saying he spent most of the off day yesterday figuring out how to get Monel at bats in the next few games.
Eric Campbell goes back down to Las Vegas to make room. Meanwhile, the Orioles come to town, a team that won 96 games and won the American League East last year. They've had a strange week, couple of games postponed, the empty building on Wednesday at Camden Yards, 3 games moved to Tropicana Field, but they've been playing better lately. But this is a team that's kind of been stumbling along through the early season.
You're right, Gary. Kind of a tragic start to their season because of the incidents in Baltimore. But really, the pitching has not been as great. They've got a nice pitching rotation of 5 guys last year. That was one of their strengths. Their bullpen has struggled so far, but their offense has started to come to life, especially Adam Jones. Buck Showalter's best player, has got 3 games already this season with 4 hits, including 1 in his last game against the Rays.
The Orioles bring their big bats to Citi Field to start a series tonight. 2 games between the Mets and the Birds. Orioles haven't beaten the Mets since 2006. 9-year winning streak. marketplace of the New York Mets. By Empire Casino, Manhattan's closest casino. Your luck starts here. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. And by Toyota, see where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live on demand in true HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Visit MLB.TV for details. Tonight's Twisted But True Fact brought to you by Twisted Tea, the hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea. The former Met Kyle Farnsworth, an all-star this year, playing semi-pro football. Who knew?
I knew.
You did?
Yeah.
Kyle was always something of a tough guy. Now he's playing his trade on the gridiron. Tonight's starting pitchers brought to you by People's United Bank. Bartolo Colon makes his second try at his 5th win of the year.
You know, he wasn't that bad in his last start, his only loss. You see one walk that happened in the 6th inning of his first game. Hasn't walked the guy since with 25 strikeouts. Bud Norris. The good news for the Mets is that he has not pitched well this season. The bad news, his best start was last start when he went 6 2/3 and only gave up 3 runs.
But because of the Orioles' crazy schedule the last couple of weeks, Norris hasn't pitched in 9 days. So we'll see how he handles the rust tonight here at Citi Field. Johnny Manel being welcomed by his new catching instructor, Bob Guerin. Mets and Orioles, all the action coming your way on SNY. On DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for free entry and claim your share of $300 million this MLB season. 6th start of the year for Bartolo Colon. 4-1 on the year. Took a loss in his last start in Miami. Here's the starting lineup for the Orioles. Manny Machado's bat has begun to come around. Jimmy Paredes has been doing most of the DHing for the Orioles, but with Jonathan Scope, their second baseman, on the DL, Paredes moves to second base. Adam Jones having a great year, and you see the rest of that powerful Baltimore lineup. 30 home runs already this year for the Orioles through their first 23 games. And there is the 22-year-old Mr. Machado, who was an all-star at age 20 and has dealt with knee surgeries on both of his knees the last couple of years.
Well, Bartolo Colon, you see the Jeep numbers. The only number I was looking at today, a little bit alarming so far for Bartolo. 4 home runs given up in his 5 starts, but other than that, can't really ask for anything more from the 40-plus-year-old. 4-1 record so far this season.
So Machado will lead things off. This is a new role for Machado. He has led off the last couple of games. First time in 2 years he's done that. And Colon throws a first pitch for a strike, and we're underway. Machado got off to a dreadful start this year, but he's up to 250 on the year. There's Buck Showalter, who led his team to 96 wins last year. So an interesting note on Buck today. He was manager of the year in the American League in 1994 with the Yankees, in 2004 with Texas, and in 2014 with the Orioles. Strike 3 called, and Machado is quickly done as Colon gets him looking at a slider for the first out of the night.
Fastball away, slider on the black, go sit down. I mean, Bartolo does not mess around. His ability to be so economical with his pitches. No wasting a pitch, 0-2.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now the red hot Jimmy Paredes, who had some big league time with the Astros and the Royals, but off to a terrific start with the bat. OPS over 1,000. It's a nice way to start your season. He's been DHing, but he's playing second base today, a switch hitter, and he takes a strike from Colon.
So you get the scouting report on Colon, right? He throws strikes. First 4 pitches, no one's taken the bat off their shoulder. It's amazing.
Okay, scouting reports kicked in.
Unbelievable.
Well, Jimmy Paredes is a guy who does not take all that many pitches. In fact, leads the American League in swinging the bat. And he finds himself quickly in an 0-2 hole. And Colon throws his first pitch out of the strike zone. So I was just thinking about Buck and winning the manager of the year every 10 years. Who's he going to be within 2024? Because they're going to have a good year, whoever it is.
That'll be the Montreal team.
There you go. Right back to Colon. He deflects it, and no chance for Flores. And Paredes has an infield hit.
Well, Gary, you talked about Paredes, how good he's going. When you're going good, you get the breaks too. A pitcher really usually fields his position pretty well. That ball hit off the end of the bat, almost like a changeup back at Colon. He stabs at it too quickly, gets too much leather on it, and by that time slowed up enough that there was no play for Flores.
Yeah, clearly fooled Colon, the velocity coming off the bat. That's a case where a lower exit velocity results in a base hit. 1 out and 1 on. Here's Adam Jones, who's having a tremendous start to his season. The 4-time All-Star, leading the American League with a .402 batting average.
And Adam Jones is not a hitter who takes a lot of pitches either. Strikes out a lot, doesn't walk a lot, but reigns the field with base hits.
35 hits already this year, including 5 home runs. Orioles don't do a lot of base stealing. Paredes with 1 steal so far this year. And Jones, first pitch swinging, pops one up. Plawecki hoping, and gets there. Nice play, 2 out. Ball was not hit all that high in the air, and Plawecki able to run under it to retire Jones. So 2 out, Paredes at first, and here is Chris Davis, who 2 years ago set the baseball world on fire with 53 home runs and 138 RBIs. If there was an opposite of the comeback player of the year, Chris Davis would have won it last year when he hit 196 with 26 home runs and then was suspended at the end of the year.
And home run hitters, you're going to shift on. Murphy playing in deep right field or short right field. First pitch changeup by Colon there to Davis.
Colon has seen some of these Orioles before, including Davis, who's 4 for 10 with a home run against him. And he stays off speed with Davis, 1-1.
4 breaking pitches now early on for Colon.
Through his first 5 starts this year, Colon has thrown his fastball 86% of the time, but not early in this game, not against a team that goes up there looking to swing the bat and hits a lot of home runs. Orioles are 5th in the American League in home runs, but 13th in walks, so they don't do much waiting around. And Davis fouls one away, 1-2.
And the Lexus Mets defense, you're going to have the same outfield that you have all the time. Lagares flanked by Kadire and Granderson in the infield. Wilmer Flores is back in there for this evening's ball game. Herrera at second, Murphy at third. Lucas, of course, manning first base, and the rookie Plawecki behind the plate.
Murphy in shallow right field for this at bat. Colon ahead on Davis, 1-2, and he misses low, 2-2.
Like a slider there, Gary. The problem with Davis, and there are a lot of problems, as Johnny Manel, number 19 they gave him, is that he has tremendous power to left field.
Also strikes out a lot, 35 strikeouts already this year, 3rd most in the American League. 2-2 coming, and he pulls one foul.
I guess I should explain that. What does that mean that he has good power to left field? That's a problem. The problem is usually the power hitter is a guy that will hit the ball maybe to, center field to his power field, right field for Davis. When you have a guy, a left-hander that can hit the ball out to left, never allows you that easy fastball in the outer part. You can sometimes park it out to left.
And it's on the inside corner. Davis caught looking. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Colon, both on call 3rd strikes. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 1st. No score at Citi Field. Here's how the Geico starting lineup looks. Wilmer Flores back in there after sitting out Saturday and Sunday. That moves Plawecki to 7 and Herrera to 8. Otherwise the same lineup. The Mets have been running out there every day trying to find their range against a struggling pitcher as 30-year-old Bud Norris takes the mound tonight.
He started 41 games since coming over to the Orioles. He's 20-11. The team is 28-13, 41 games. But it's been a struggle this year. He already has an outing of giving up 9 runs and of giving up 8 runs.
He got a win in his last outing, but it required the Orioles scoring 18 runs. They won 18-7 against the Red Sox. That was 9 days ago in his last start. And the Orioles, unlike some teams, putting on the full shift against Granderson. Almost like they have an old scouting report. And Curtis takes the first pitch for a strike.
They have an AL East scouting report.
Granderson, .359 on base percentage, 17 walks. That's 4th in the National League, and has been using a lot more of center field and left field. And he drops down a bunt, beautifully done. Norris after it, no chance. Now you want to shift against Curtis Granderson? That's what you get. And the Mets have a leadoff base runner.
Very nice, intelligent play. Sets up early. He knows all he has to do is put some speed on that bunt. Most of the time you're trying to kill a bunt, deaden it. Just the opposite when you're trying to bunt one against the shift. And an ill-advised play by Norris to even try to throw that. Just classic by Curtis. You want to shift me? Okay, I'll take a base hit anytime.
Now he's in leadoff mode now, and he'll do anything he can to get on base. He's been drawing more walks, and they're taking the bunt hit that's handed to him. So now the red-hot Juan Lagares, .457 over his last 9 games. Has his season average up to .324. Mets have not scored a run since Friday. They got 3 runs in the 8th inning Friday night. Got shut out Saturday and Sunday. Had yesterday off.
I was thinking that would you want to hit and run to get something going? Well, Lagares has been your best hitter. Maybe you give him a chance to swing away.
33 hits already this year, 5th in the National League. Granderson has 2 stolen bases. Norris keeping an eye on him. But Norris began his career with the Astros, playing on some of the worst teams of the last couple of decades. He was like the last veteran standing when they dealt everybody away, and he absorbed a lot of losses. Came to the Orioles last year, went 15-8, and especially tough the second half of the year.
The one thing I've always liked about Norris is that when he's at his best, he's got a slider that is a wipeout slider, but he hasn't found it yet in this early part of the season.
Lagares swinging at a 2-0 fastball and fouls it back.
Well, that gives you a little indication what we were talking about earlier, doesn't it? You love that your hitter's aggressive. There's Lucas Duda on deck. But that 2-0 pitch was a ball to Lagares.
Last time the Mets faced Bud Norris, it was when he was an Astro in 2012, before the Astros changed leagues.
It was interesting. I was watching batting practice today, and Lagares, who Terry Collins routinely says hits the ball out of sight in batting practice, well, he was doing it today.
There goes Granderson. Caleb Joseph with the throw, and Granderson is out. Nice tag by Cabrera, and they get Granderson, first Met to be caught stealing this season, coming in the Mets' 27th game.
Boy, ball right down the middle. I think that a missed hit and run, because running on Joseph is hard. Joseph has an outstanding arm behind the plate, and like you said, nice play by Cabrera. Had to come up on the ball, quick tag on the helmet of Curtis.
Caleb Joseph filling in for Matt Wieters, who's still recovering from Tommy John surgery, and he's hit better than they expected and doing a terrific job defensively. Wieters is probably still at least a month away from coming back. So the Orioles have been playing with without some of their regulars, particularly up the middle. Second baseman Paredes filling in for the injured Jonathan Scope, throws out Lagares for the second out.
Well, you can always tell if it's a hit and run. How? When the runner takes off, does he look in? 4 or 5 steps, looks in. To me, that was a hit and run, because Granderson didn't get the optimal release there. So looked in, thought it was a hit and run. Someone missed the sign, out of Curtis or Juan.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Lucas Duda. Lucas hitless in his last 7 at bats, dropped his on base percentage just below 400. First time it's been there in a while. And they put the full shift on against him as well.
Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire, has a very good strike zone for the pitchers, so the hitters are going to have to be aggressive, start swinging the bat.
Now this is a shift I don't think we've seen before. The shortstop Cabrera is in shallow right field. The second baseman Paredes is playing to the right of the bag, and Machado stays home on the left.
Paredes has played more at third base, so maybe more comfortable. And the best speed in the infield, as Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire, is Cabrera, who's manning that short right field.
I mean, we've seen second baseman out in that rover spot. We've seen third baseman out there. I don't remember ever seeing a shortstop move to that spot.
I would honestly put my best athlete, best speed in that position because you have to cover a lot of ground.
And Norris gets it over for a strike, 2-2. Only 2 hitters in this Mets lineup have ever faced Bud Norris before, Michael Kadire and Daniel Murphy, the next 2 hitters in the lineup. And Duda goes down as Norris runs one out on his hands, and he's got his first strikeout. No score after 1. Young leads off against Bartolo Colon. Young's been playing a lot of outfield early in the season for the Orioles, a guy generally better suited as a DH. Young lines one right to Flores for the first out. A bullet off the bat of Delmon Young, 1 away.
Well, Delmon Young always seems to hit bullets here, and this one, fortunately, right at Flores. Delmon Young's been an interesting player, hasn't he? I mean, #1 pick, destined for greatness, and it just has not worked out that way.
Moved around a lot.
Yep.
He's had some postseason success. Here's Caleb Joseph, the young catcher, takes a strike. Joseph hitting .305, doing most of the catching with Wieters still on the sidelines. The backup catcher for the Orioles is the Yale product, Ryan Lavarnway.
That's right. I remember when Lavarnway and Breslow were both with the Red Sox for a short time. Lavarnway hasn't got a lot of playing time, though, as Joseph has been the #1 guy.
Did they have to bring along an academic advisor? Down the line and slicing away and into the crowd foul, 1-2.
Breslow's so smart. He served with both purposes, left-handed specialist and academic advisor.
Like a rocket scientist?
Molecular biophysics and biochemistry major.
Oh, it's close to rocket.
I mean, it's hard for me to even say that. I can't believe it came out right.
That's a side of the institution that I never would have found.
That's not near the Yale Commons. You go to the Yale Commons and you start walking up the hill.
It's an entirely different level. Colon up in the count, 1-2. And Joseph takes it high. Caleb Joseph out of Lipscomb University.
Where's that?
Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Rex Brothers, the hard-throwing reliever for the Rockies, was from Lipscomb, among a very small handful. Ballot at the plate, still 2-2.
Unfortunately, I don't know how you are. You probably are much better in this because of your travels when you were first starting as an announcer. There are many states I have no idea. I have know anything about.
So you're saying there are a lot of states you've never been to?
I've been to, but no interest in learning that much about it.
2-2 from Cologne. That's on the outside corner, and Joseph will sit down. 3 strikeouts now for Cologne. All 3 have come on call third strike.
And we talked about it before. He is a strike thrower, and you think he's going to warm around the plate. It's not going to happen. You know, in between innings, there's 2:25 on the clock, and this is the warm-up from Bartolo Colon. He's usually done with a minute left. I mean, these aren't warm-up pitches. They're lukewarm-up pitches. I mean, he just kind of flips it in there.
Saving bullets.
It's beautiful. Guy with the best control uses the in-between innings to kind of just toss the ball around.
Now Travis Snyder playing left field tonight. Alejandro De Aza has played most of the left field for the Orioles, but he's sitting for the 3rd straight game. Snyder, the former Blue Jay and Pirate, who still owns the greatest catch ever at Citi Field in its 7-year history, climbing the fence in right field. And Colon misses away 1-1.
Well,
I believe our crack staff has
really?
them all queued up.
Very nice.
They came prepared tonight.
Mike Baxter hit it. You see the pitcher's reaction? He definitely thought it was out. And Snyder, I've never seen this. Remember that catch that they used to show on YouTube of the Japanese outfielder going up
on top of the fence?
Yes,
yeah.
That was as close as it gets. But, you know, interestingly enough, Snyder in left field tonight, not right field.
Well, they say he has not been playing very well in the outfield.
I mean,
and they've got Delman Young, who's got a strong arm, but not a very good outfielder, playing in right. And now Snyder's got the 2nd hit for the Orioles tonight. Pitch up from Colon, and the Orioles have a 2-out base run. Now it's Evans Cabrera, the former San Diego Padre, whose career looked like it was really on the rise until 2 years ago when he went down in the biogenesis debacle, 50-game suspension, and then he was hurt with a hamstring most of last year.
Well, 2013 was his breakout year, where you thought, boy, this kid really has a chance, and then suspended for 50 games.
He's filling in for the injured J.J. Hardy, who's yet to make his season debut, coming back from a shoulder problem. Hardy is out on rehab right now. So is their backup infielder Ryan Flaherty, and the Orioles, who are spending the entire week in New York, 2 games with the Mets and then 4 in the Bronx. They hope to have both those guys back by the weekend. So that will certainly enhance Buck Showalter's not only his lineup but his bench as well.
I'm wondering, did the Orioles play yesterday in Tampa? Or
No,
Sunday?
They won't.
So did they spend Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday? Wow. That's amazing.
I think they actually went home to Baltimore. Because remember, they were supposed to be home this past weekend.
That's right.
Just inside 1-2. It's such a strange week. They got the games postponed last Monday and Tuesday. They played in the empty ballpark on Wednesday. They had an off day Thursday and then played 3 games that were supposed to be home games in St. Petersburg Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they won 3 out of 4.
And batted last in the visiting ballpark.
Before tiny crowds. Cabrera pops it up. Flores makes the call, and the side retired. So Colon throws a scoreless 2nd. They'll score at Citi Field. 15,000 fans will receive a Mets fedora courtesy of Select Spider. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Super Saturdays. Michael Cuddyer leads off for the Mets in the home second. Cuddyer, along with the rest of the team, struggling through these last few games, 0 for his last 8. Probably the epitome of the Mets' struggles over the weekend came in the 8th inning on Sunday. The Mets had 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, down 1-0, and both Duda and Cuddyer chased pitches out of the strike zone to strike out. And that's where the Mets have got to get back to where they were a couple of weeks ago, when they were being very selective in and out of the strike zone.
What was it? Thornton got Duda, and what? Roark?
Barrett.
That's
Barrett
right.
Got Cuddyer
On a breaking pitch.
And you know, you give a lot of credit to the Nats pitching staff because they are terrific. Everybody expected them to be. And the Mets scored 6 runs in 4 games, which again, not unexpected, but you can't help them.
Yeah. Well, you also have to maximize your chances when you don't have to get a hit and you can still get a run in, you know?
Daniel Murphy on deck, then Wilmer Flores. Cuddyer 3 for 7 in his career against Norris, who misses away 3-1. Norris from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo.
Great part of the world, by the way.
Central California coast. Cal Poly produced Mike Krukow, Met Killer.
He was.
And I didn't realize this till I looked it up today, Ozzie Smith went to Cal Poly.
Ozzie was an LA guy, I believe, right? Los Angeles?
Cuddyer smacks one the other way for a base hit. Young gets it back in quickly, and the Mets have a leadoff base runner for the 2nd straight inning.
Oh, nice hitting with 2 strikes. Going to get a fastball away. The same pitch he got 3-1. This one caught a little more of the plate. And when Michael Cuddyer is right, that's what he does on pitches away. There's, of course, like defense for the Baltimore Orioles. Snyder in left, Jones and Delman Young, who got to that ball in right field. Machado, Cabrera, Paredes, and Davis. Machado outstanding at third base. Caleb Joseph, we've already seen him throw out a runner at second.
So they've got 4 Gold Gloves in center field in Adam Jones and 1 at third base in Machado. And Murphy, having seen Granderson bunt for a hit, bluffs one with the third baseman playing back and off the line. You don't see Murph do that too often.
But, you know, the Mets have been shut out 2 times. It's almost like they're saying, you're going to give us a hit. We've had a hard time getting any. We're going to take it.
You know, there's an old expression in football, take what the defense gives you.
Right.
Put 9 men in the box, you go deep.
That's right.
Wilmer Flores getting ready for his first at bat since Friday night, when he took his first career golden sombrero.
And then he had time to ponder, to sit, think about his next chance to play.
I think you don't save the baseball from your first career 4 strikeout game. Murphy lines one the other way for a base hit. So 2 opposite field hits, Cuddyer and now Murphy, and the Mets have the table set in the 2nd.
Well, I don't know if the Mets have made the adjustment this quickly. That ball's supposed to be in and it's away. But Murph does a great job of getting on top of that ball. But Norris has not thrown a pitch into a left-hander yet. That's the side of the plate that's more difficult for him anyways. And Murph takes advantage of it.
Left-hand hitters came into the night hitting .400 against Norris this year. And the Mets already have 2 hits from lefties, albeit one of them a bunt hit by Granderson. So now Flores with an opportunity to do some early damage after sitting the last 2 games. First and second and nobody out. Davis playing in at first as though he's expecting a bunt, but there was no chance that's happening.
Oh, there's the defense. Like you said, pinched in is Davis at first. Back off a little is the third baseman.
Sometimes I think when American League teams play National League teams, they don't quite get it.
You didn't think though Buck would fall into that.
No, I mean, he managed in the National League with Arizona. Lined right at the second baseman, Paredes, and everybody gets back. A
hard first out off the bat of Flores.
Well, you see the defense. Paredes is holding the runner at second base close. He scoots back into position, and it's perfect position for him to make this play. Good base running by the Mets base runners. That's what you do if you're a second baseman, though. You hold the runner and get back into position.
It's good at bat for Flores. Another one where Met hitters going the other way.
Good job by Kadire. An interesting shot we showed there. Murph gets back. I don't know who jumped higher, Paredes or Bud Norris on that ball.
So now Kevin Plawecki with 2 on and 1 out. Plawecki's hit in 4 straight games, and he takes a strike. Kevin had probably the best at bat for the Mets over the weekend when he drilled one off the left field fence against Doug Fister, knocking him out of the game Sunday.
It had so much top spin on it that it kept it in the ballpark.
Grounded to third, might be 2. Machado to second for 1. Paredes on to first, and they turn the 5-4-3 double play. And the Mets are turned aside for the 20th straight inning without a run. They get the first 2 men on and come up empty. They'll score after 2. Three sedan. Bud Norris will get his first plate appearance of the season. Not a bad hitter during his National League days. Lifetime 150.
This is where the pitcher who gets traded from the National League to the American League spends most of the time bragging to his pitching mates how good of a hitter he is.
He lines one to right of Granderson for the first out.
And usually it doesn't come to pass, but good stroke there by Norris.
He had been in a great streak over the last 2 years. He'd been 4 for his last 10. See, that's something to brag
over
about.
2 years.
Well, do you remember Mets reliever Dennis Cook?
Yeah, of course, the lefty.
Have to have Dave Freed
University of Texas.
Look up his numbers, but he only had maybe 20 at bats in his career.
But he DH'd at Texas, I think, when he was there. He could hit.
At one point, he was like a 400 hitter in the major leagues. He might have tailed off late in his career. Here's Manny Machado bluffing a bunt with Murphy playing back at third, and he takes a strike.
Dave Freed still thinks he's working in the NBA, so I don't know if he's ready for any baseball stuff.
He got here early tonight, but I think it was mostly to eat. 1-1 to Machado. Now, there's a lot of concern in the Orioles camp about Machado earlier this season. He wasn't hitting. He's made errors uncharacteristically. Had a stretch of 6 errors in a 9-game span. This is a kid who won a Gold Glove 2 years ago.
Well, if this kid's healthy, he will be fine. We're talking about one of the premier players. One of the reasons he's gone backwards a bit, 2 years in a row suffering knee injuries on opposite knees.
Left knee in 13, right knee in 14. Right at Herrera. And he throws out Machado for the second out. So I underestimated Dennis Cook's at bat total. He wound up with 110 at bats in 15 seasons.
That's a lot.
And he averaged at a 264 career average with 2 home runs.
That's real good
in
for
those
a pitcher.
110 at bats.
You know why I try to explain it to people? Because one of the common questions I always get is how come pitchers can't hit better? You know that they were good athletes when they were younger, and how come they can't hit better? I go, well, think about it this way. A good pitcher hits 200, right? 2 for 10. A great hitter in the major leagues hits 3 for 10. So it's not that big of a difference with about the eighth of the workload as far as practicing.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you get pitchers who get to the big leagues and can hit, and their skills diminish over time because they're spending most of their time worrying about being a pitcher.
Right.
Plus, if you come up to the big leagues and you can hit a little bit, all of a sudden they treat you like a hitter.
And then you have no chance because now they're spinning it on you.
Paredes takes on the inside corner. Strike 3 called. 4th strikeout, all looking for Bartolo Colon. And now Bart gets to do what he loves best. Swing the bat. At least what Met fans love to watch him do best. It's always an event when Bart comes to the plate. No score as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Batting order against Bud Norris. Mets got the first 2 men on in the 2nd, couldn't make anything of it, and the Mets have now gone 20 consecutive innings without scoring a run. By the way, just for reference, only 5 times in Major League history has a team lost 3 straight 1-0 games.
You're going there already?
Well, just in case. The last time was the 1960 Philadelphia Phillies. That was Gene Mauch's first year as manager of the Phillies, 4 years before their monumental collapse when they were just bad all year. Herrera 1 for 10 to start his big league season, and Norris finds the outside corner 1-1. The Mets have been shut out in 3 games of any score only 3 times in their history, the last in 1992. And Herrera pops it up. Paredes makes the call. 1 out. Well, we promoted it going to break, and here it is, the moment everybody waits for.
Oh. Look at guys jumping up and down. Bartolo's up. I said it the other day. Bartolo's like the everyman. You know, he's like the guy that sits at home watching TV saying, hey, if Bartolo can play, I can play.
And he gets that smirk on his face every once in a while that lets you know that he's got it all covered.
He's got a good looking bat for a guy who's not a great hitter. It's a good looking bat.
Well, if you ran a bat company, wouldn't you want Bartolo to use your bats?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, you know, he's like the big home run hitter. Nobody wants to miss one of his at bats.
I'd like to put some advertising on his helmet too when it flies off.
That's his first cut and gets a hand for fouling one off.
What color is Bartolo's bat, Gary?
Some shade of red. What would you call that? Maybe a mauve, maroon. It's an interesting color. And there goes the helmet. And Bartolo can only smirk and move away. Second strikeout for Norris in entertaining fashion.
Good slider. Helmet comes off. He tries to catch it with the backhand, almost like a Harlem Globetrotter play at this point. See it? Tries to catch it. Hits it with the bat. Bat went further than the ball.
Well, he can now get himself back ready for his real job. Here's Granderson, who bunted for a hit, and this time Machado's going to play in a little closer to prevent it from happening again.
Well, that's a good place for Machado. He has to play there. Take away that bunt base hit the first time that Granderson did it, but rest of the infield deep.
Well, this time they've got Paredes, the second baseman, playing shallow right, and Cabrera playing more up the middle. So they switched them from the last shift.
It's the Granderson versus the Duda shift.
Right. So we'll see if when Duda comes up again, will they shift him again? Shifts are getting more and more sophisticated.
You're going to need a wristband like the quarterbacks in the NFL. Lift it up and know where you have to play.
See, it's not just positioning anymore. It's personnel. It's like the different packages that the coordinators bring in.
Now Machado backs up. Even the outfield moved. Travis Snyder moved closer to left field.
2-2. And Granderson takes below the knees. Full count. Juan Lagares would be next.
Elias can probably find this out, but who's had more full counts than Curtis Granderson this year?
Probably nobody. And he lays off ball 4. 18th walk of the season for Granderson. He's on for the second time. Get a preview of tomorrow's Mets-Orioles game here at Citi Field, plus all the latest Rangers news. They get ready for Game 4 against the Caps in D.C. on Loudmouth tomorrow at 5:30, only on SNY. Of course, when the Rangers lost last night, the standard line was, what, 3 days in a row? Washington won, New York nothing?
That's right.
That's just not right. Here's Lagares with Granderson at first. Granderson caught stealing in the first inning. And Lagares takes a fastball for a strike. Juan grounded out to second base his first trip. Mets have played 14 home games before today, and Lagares has had a hit in every one of them, which is the longest home hitting streak to start a season in Mets history. Broke the mark of 12 that had been held by Ken Singleton.
Oh, it's Big Shea.
1970. Yes, kids, Ken Singleton was once a Met. Traded for Rusty Staub.
And a Baltimore Oriole.
Hit slowly. Charging Paredes. Tough play. Low throw handled by Davis, and he got him. Side retired. Boy, Paredes had to avoid Granderson, and then Davis had to pick it out of the dirt, and it all worked. And they get Lagares to end the inning. 21 straight innings without a run for the Mets. Fourth inning at Citi Field. Adam Jones leads off against Bartolo Colon, who's given up just 2 singles over the first 3 innings. Jones saw 1 pitch and fouled out to the catcher his first time up, having a remarkable start to his year. Thinks about the bunt and takes a strike. Adam Jones, who started out with Seattle, traded early in his career to Baltimore, and he has had a wonderful time of it playing at Camden Yards. 4-time All-Star.
Steal of the century. Not the century. There's been other steals of the century. But Eric Bedard went over to Seattle.
Today's Game Changer brought to you by T-Mobile. There you see the numbers for Adam Jones, leading the league in hitting, second in hits, third in on base, etc., etc.
To me, when people that watch the game and love the game discuss the best outfielders in the game, Adam Jones' name never comes up. I never understand that.
Considering his offensive exploits and the fact that he's won 4 Gold Gloves, that's a little shocking. Reaches for it and dumps one into right field for a base hit. Granderson over quickly to get it, and he'll hold Jones to an opposite field single. So behind in the count, reaches across the plate for a slider and gets a hit anyway.
Well, I've seen a slider to the pitch before, so maybe this helped him anticipate seeing another one. And those hits, and Adam Jones will tell you, those are the lucky hits. You're just trying to stay in at bat, trying to foul that pitch off, and sometimes it drops in.
Well, when you're hitting over 400, you need a few of those to maintain. Nets will now shift against Chris Davis. Murphy will move to the right side, playing in between Herrera and Duda. Flores alone on the left side. Davis struck out looking his first time up, and he takes a strike.
Colon not throwing as hard tonight as we've seen him throw in the past. You know, he's never a hard thrower, mostly between 88 and 90, but that fastball there at 85.
Average fastball velocity this year, 88.5. And Davis cracks one into right for a base hit. Jones pulls in at second. So back-to-back base hits for the Orioles, and maybe that's why Bartolo's throwing so many more changeups and sliders tonight.
He just doesn't like his fastball. That happens. That looked like a changeup there that Davis just kind of flicked the bat. He's so strong. That looks like a great topspin backhand from Federer, the way he swung at that pitch.
So the Orioles have the first 2 men aboard in the 4th. 4 hits now against Colon. And here's Delman Young, who hit the ball hard his first time up, lining out to short. Jones a fast man at second. Davis not a fast man at first. Slowly hit. Colon, nobody covering third, so he has to go to first and gets the out there. Nicely done by Colon, who fields his position far better than anybody would expect looking at his physique.
What's great about this is watch Colon. Okay, he knows no one's at third, but he also knows Delman Young's running. He can take his time and fire a strike over there, and he'll still have plenty of time. You see a lot of pitchers that can maybe get to this baseball, but they'll hurry their throw because they don't know the situation. Colon, in his years of experience, absolutely does.
And of course, there's nothing Murphy can do. He's got to break for that ball. So there's no way that he could have anticipated that Colon was going to get there and have a play at third. So now the infield back, second and third and 1 out, conceding a run on a grounder. Caleb Joseph fouls one away. So Colon, who has struck out 4 tonight, in a spot where he could really use a strikeout.
What's interesting about this defense, though, when you consider the Mets' offense the last 2 games, is that maybe you have the infield back early, but if he gets to 0-2, maybe you consider bringing the infield in a little bit. Hard call for Terry.
Joseph hitting .400 with runners in scoring position so far this year. The Orioles as a team hitting .317 with runners in scoring position. That's shades of the Cardinals a couple of years ago.
Bartolo usually likes to jam the right-handed hitters when he's got second and third.
And he does. And Joseph fouls it straight down. It's 0-2.
I try to say that late enough so I'm not giving away Bartolo's secrets, but he's the kind of guy that he's trying to throw a pitch where the only way you can hit it is to hit it foul.
So now that he's jammed him to get to 0-2, does he come back inside?
He could go and come back inside, but the pitch that he needs to strike out. So that pitch he throws off the corner that comes back is a pitch that you'll see. He might double up first before he goes out to that pitch.
He's thrown 13 straight strikes. See if he wastes one or comes right after him. And Joseph watches outside, 1-2.
That's the pitch. He just tries to start it about 4 or 5 inches outside, break it back 4 or 5 inches back over the corner.
Travis Snyder on deck.
All winning pitchers have those kind of numbers.
Knows how to get himself out of trouble. And he strikes him out when he needs one. Good sinker to strike out Joseph for the second time, and now there are 2 out.
Just a beautiful sequence of pitches. Jammed them inside, went outside again, and then back inside, down and out of the strike zone. The only thing that Joseph could do with that pitch if he didn't strike out was hit a ground ball to Murphy.
So now 2 out of the inning. Runner still at second and third, and it's left to Travis Snyder, who had a base hit to right field his first time up. Snyder who played for the Pirates last year, former first-round draft pick of the Toronto Blue Jays. And he takes a knee-high strike. He's setting up outside. Pitch misses low and in. 1-1.
There you go, Gary. Right. Looking at 85 to 88, 92 miles an hour all of a sudden when he's in trouble.
Jones at third. Davis at second with 2 out. Malone trying to find his way out of his first real jam of the night. And he misses with that slider. 2-1. Number 8 hitter Everett Cabrera on deck, and Cologne's aware of that, so be a little bit more careful to Snyder, who has hit him well. 4 hits and 10 career at bats against Bartolo. Change up, pulled down to first, and Duda makes the flip, and Cologne finds his way out of the jam. Beautifully done by Bartolo Colon with his pitching and his defense to find his way through the inning. Still no score.
Don't shake the camera, then I'm in real trouble.
Looking from underneath the out-of-town scoreboard in left field. Mets come to bat in the 4th inning, looking to break their drought, which has now reached 21 innings. They'll have 3, 4, and 5 in the order coming up. Duda, Kadire, and Murphy against Bud Norris, who came into the night struggling, but has held the Mets off the board so far. And they go with the different shift against Duda this time. Interesting.
The Granderson shift.
Last time they had the shortstop Cabrera in shallow right field. This time it's the second baseman Paredes. And Duda hits one deep to center. Back goes Jones, way back, over his head. Duda digs for second and pulls in with a leadoff double. Well, Adam Jones, like Juan Lagares, tends to play shallow, and that time the 4-time Gold Glover got burned.
Well, it's a ball straight over his head. First, the hitting by Duda. Fastball up and away. It's a pitch he missed in his last at-bat, and just a line shot. Just hit too hard for Jones to get back there. And I like that angle right there. That's what Jones saw. And probably thought at some point he's going to catch up to it, but Lucas Duda just hits the ball too hard for him to have a chance.
Ninth double of the year for Duda, so the Mets have a leadoff man at second, and now Kadire takes a strike. Michael singled to right field his first time up. So the Mets have their 4th hit against Norris, and for the 3rd time in 4 innings, they've got the leadoff man on, trying to convert that into runs. A difficult commodity. Little tapper. That will advance the runner. No. Duda staying at second base as Joseph throws out Kadire. Duda didn't get a good read on it, and he has to hold it second.
I will say, when you see the ball like we saw it, it seems like an automatic for Lucas to move on to third base. But from his angle, I'm telling you, it's hard to read how far that gets away from the catcher.
Depth perception.
Yeah, big time. You know, and you don't want to be thrown out of third. You're still in scoring position.
So the Mets right now, those little things just are not working out for them. You would have thought they'd have a runner at third with 1 out, but that's not the case. And now Murphy, who singled the other way his first time up. And Norris gets one on the outside corner for a strike. Here's the view from left field. Not up at the scoreboard, but back toward the field. And Norris quickly ahead on Murphy, 0-2. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Helmet catch. Oh, almost.
But Bartolo's got to go with the smaller helmet at some point, or maybe that's just his shtick now.
You know, Willie Mays' cap used to always fly off too. Murphy cracks one into right field for a base hit. Duda being waved around third. He'll come in with the game's first run, and the Mets' drought is over after 21 innings. Daniel Murphy drives in a run, and the Mets lead 1-0. Two hits for Murphy tonight, both on 0-2 pitches.
Well, just a little slider that catches way too much of the plate for Norris's liking. And Delman Young with Duda on second base kind of backs up on this baseball and plays it on his heels. So no chance for him to have any kind of play. And the Mets have a run.
Well, a chance for everybody in that dugout to breathe a little bit. And after not scoring since the 8th inning Friday night, the Mets finally have themselves a run. Now Wilmer Flores, who hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out to second base. Murphy at first and 1 out. And the slider off the plate for ball 1. That is that's an exceptionally good result on 0-2 to be 4 for 11. That's a .364 average, 200 points above the league average. Wilmer cracks one deep down the left field line toward the corner, and it's a fair ball in play. Murphy will be held at third, and Flores into second base with a well-struck double.
Well, this ball just stays fair. I mean, it hits the orange line and bounces back out. But good hustling by Murphy. Murphy always hustling, picks up Tuffle, and stops at third base.
Snyder did a good job playing that ball out of the corner, as that was barely fair. Right off the orange line. Wow. Not sure we've ever seen one hit in exactly that spot.
Tough call from Mark Rippiker. He got it right.
So, second and third and one out. And we'll see how the Orioles play their infield against Plawecki, with the Mets already up 1-0. And they're going to come most of the way in.
Interesting. There's a choice, couple choices here. You could either, with one out, walk Plawecki and go after the rookie and then the pitcher Colon. Instead, they choose to pitch to Plawecki.
Starts him off with a slider that's fouled off. Plawecki grounded into a double play his first time up. Wilson Herrera on deck.
What Norris will probably counter with here is that if you're going to throw sliders with a base open, you have to make sure you throw them off the strike zone. And they'll see if Plawecki will get himself out. Plawecki, though, is even though he's a young hitter, an inexperienced major league hitter, he has a great understanding of the strike zone.
A guy who, through his amateur and professional careers, has been very difficult to strike out. And certainly that's what Norris would like in this spot, is to get himself a strikeout and a chance to find his way through the inning. Infield all the way in, and Plawecki drives one down the left field line. That's going to go to the corner, and 2 runs will score. Murphy is in. Flores right behind him. Plawecki slides in with a 2-run double. And the Mets have a cornucopia of runs. It's 3-0 New York.
Well, Dave Wallace, the pitching coach for the Orioles, is out to talk to Bud Norris, who has struggled all season long, and this is one of the reasons. You guys on second and third, you have a base open, and that ball caught way too much of the plate, and Plawecki did not miss it.
You get the impression with Plawecki, pitchers see him right on top of the plate, think they can beat him inside. We haven't seen that happen yet.
Always been the opposite since the beginning of time. The guys that stand on the plate, they do it for a reason. It's because they're real quick inside, and Plawecki is no exception.
Plawecki with his third double, his 5th and 6th runs batted in. Mets have 3 runs home in this 4th inning. And now Dilson Herrera, who popped up his first time up. So Norris, who has been staggered through his first 5 starts, finds himself in another difficult inning.
You know, before we started the game in our open, we were talking about the Mets swinging at pitches out of the strike zone, as you see the empty bullpen, swinging at breaking pitches and missing them out of the strike zone. Well, the 0-2 pitch to Murphy was a breaking ball, but it wasn't a good one. When you're facing a team like the Nationals, they sometimes bounce that pitch. Norris wasn't able to.
What I saw that we posted in a graphic before the game when we were going through that was the Mets' average on pitches out of the strike zone, which they'd had some success with. 218 on pitches out of the strike zone. That's good.
That is good
for the first 16 games, but they've come back to earth on that, and that speaks to some of what you're talking about.
It really does. And when guys have missed bouncing the pitch, the Mets have been pretty good.
2-1 to Herrera. So they're chasing more, and they're less effective when they're chasing because the pitches that they've been facing have been better. But tonight, they found success against a pitcher who right now is having trouble duplicating what he did for the Orioles last year. The Orioles last year had an ERA, staff ERA, of about 3.5. It's way up this year with some of the same people. Ubaldo Jimenez is going to pitch tomorrow night. It's had a nice bounce back season for them. Miguel Gonzalez has been good, but the rest of the staff has kind of gone backwards.
Got to be smart here if you're the young Herrera, right? There's a base open. The pitcher's up next. Norris shouldn't give you anything to hit. Probably a 3-1 slider. There it is.
Little blue, shallow center. On comes Jones to make the catch, and diving back into second is Plawecki. Well, that's where playing shallow really paid off for Adam Jones. Ball that often will fall, he's able to get to.
Got to it easily, too. And Plawecki didn't really know what to do because he hasn't seen the Gold Glover live and in person.
So 2 out of the inning. Plawecki still at second. Now Colon is struck out. Helmet flying his first time up.
Colon's took the first pitch his first time up. He'll try a sneak attack here. He's swinging no matter what first pitch.
He was lying in the weeds. And there he goes. Colon's already driven in 2 runs this year. Got those RBIs in back-to-back starts earlier this season. Hard to drive in a run here because the outfield is playing incredibly shallow. So it would take a gapper to get Plawecki in. Norris quickly ahead 0-2.
Tellman, Young, and Adam Jones. I mean, that's inside of Williamsport depth, isn't it?
And Norris able to put an end to the inning with his 3rd strikeout, but the Mets able to stitch together 4 hits. Lucas Duda got it started by beating Adam Jones deep. Murphy drove in the Mets' first run in 4 days, and Plawecki with a 2-run double to give the Mets a 3-0 lead after 4. Is an evolving thing that could become a trend.
I don't think they made the Met Gala last night, but yeah, nice.
Everett Cabrera will lead off against Bartolo Colon in the 5th inning. First, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, after a really rough week for Wilmer Flores, some positives that last inning, a double and a run scored. I spoke with Wilmer before the game today, trying to gauge how he was feeling after that rough week with all the scrutiny up upon him. And you know, he said all the right things, that he's just taking it one game at a time, that type of stuff doesn't really bother him. But the thing that stood out to me was how genuinely appreciative he was of the way his teammates, and more specifically his manager, have both privately and publicly supported him. He said to me, you know, they didn't have to do that, and they won't be disappointed. Said that last thing somewhat defiantly, too.
Well, I love seeing that. Terry Collins addressed it before the game today to the media, and he was saying that 100% of the players are behind Wilmer. Fake bunt there by Cabrera. And that, you know, they want him to succeed. Part of them having a good ball club this year is that Wilmer figures it out defensively and offensively. So everyone pulling for the young man. But it's a tough town. It's not easy.
Into left center, over in the gap goes Lagares, and he makes the backhand catch. It might have gotten kicked in the chest by Kadire on the way by. Kadire not giving ground, and Lagares makes a remarkable play, but takes a hit.
Well, they're both going for the ball, but you see at the very end, Lagares kind of goes underneath and upends Kadire. And you're right, I think he caught like a knee to the chest. Watch the right knee of Kadire. Right off his right shoulder, really. And then fell hard on that glove hand that caught the baseball.
He is so good and covers so much ground and makes catches that you're just not anticipating. And I don't think Kadire had any idea that Lagares had even a prayer of making that play.
Thanks.
That's why he didn't get out of the way sooner.
Well, as soon as it left the bathroom up here, I thought that Kadire was the only one who had a chance at that baseball. And out of nowhere, Lagares came there. You can see he immediately held like his upper rib cage. And I'm wondering if that's where he took the brunt of that force.
Ray Ramirez, the head athletic trainer, out there to see if he can raise his arm properly. So Hanley Ramirez get hurt last night in left field for the Red Sox, crashing into a sidewall and leaving with a shoulder injury.
Okay.
Last thing the Mets need is for Lagares to get hurt.
See, he fell really hard on his side. And then Ray had him do a little stretching, and he's fine now. And Michael Kadire said, "Where did you come from anyway?"
That's just an outlandish play by Lagares.
It's like every other night. Yeah, it did. It just caught his rib cage. I mean, remember, this ball is working its way away from Lagares and still able to make the play.
Now, my question to you is, did Kadire have an easier play? I mean, I know it's Lagares' ball all the way if he can get to it.
No, Kadire's play would have been a diving play also. But, you know, what's going to happen now, remember, this is Mike's first year here. You know, this is under 25 games or around 25 games. He does not even know how good Lagares is until he spends enough time on the field with him. He got a taste of it right there.
Norris grounds one. Flores in front of it. Throw on a hop, and Duda handles it for the second out. The throws continue to be a concern for Flores. Two out and nobody on now. Manny Machado.
When I see an infielder bouncing the ball like that, Gary, it's simply this. He's aiming the ball to first base. And that happens for pitchers, too, when they're struggling with their control. They'll start to aim it a little bit. And when you aim it, you kind of cut it off a little. And that's what's happening to Wilmer.
There's Manny Machado, third time around the batting order, is struck out and grounded out. So Colon, after being handed the lead, has retired the first two with some significant help from Lagares. And Machado pops it up. Herrera's got it lined up. And Colon turns in a 1-2-3 inning after being handed the lead. Halfway through at Citi Field. 3 runs for the Mets and the nightly heroics of Juan Lagares. Louch, but he keeps on going. in that fourth inning. Only the second time all year they've done that, to score 3 runs and break a 21-inning drought. Meanwhile, Bartolo Colon just merrily rolling along. No walks, 4 hits, and a shutout intact. Third time around the batting order for Bud Norris. He is yet to retire Curtis Granderson. It was a bunt single and a walk. And again, they put on the full shift against Granderson, albeit with the third baseman Machado playing at the edge of the grass. And quickly 0-2 to Granderson. Lagares appears to be just fine. He's out on deck. And Duda behind him. You have to do a little extra loosening up before he comes to the plate, after getting whacked, making that tremendous backhand catch. Mets went 21 innings without a run, and just in case you're trying to put that in perspective, it's not even close to a club record. Back in 1963, second year of the franchise, the Mets went 39 innings without scoring a run.
I'm sorry I'm laughing. That's hilarious.
39 innings.
I mean,
that's more than the equivalent of 4 straight games. There were only 3 shutouts in there. And Granderson down on strikes. 4th strikeout for Norris. 1 out. Well, we were talking earlier about swinging at balls out of the strike zone, and Curtis Granderson, among all the Mets, has been the least culpable.
Yeah, well, that's the reason that we were talking before. Dave Fried was nice enough to send over. He said 24, 3-2 counts, and of course all those walks.
18 walks now. You see Lagares swinging at the highest percentage of pitches out of the strike zone, but getting the best results swinging out of the strike zone. And I guess that brings up a whole different question about hitters' ability to be bad ball hitters, and there have been some great bad ball hitters over the years.
Well, Yogi, of course, is the first one I come to, Yogi Berra, but you mentioned Manny Sanguillen.
Vladimir Guerrero toward the hole, backhanded by Cabrera. The long throw right on target, beautifully done by Cabrera. That's an outstanding play for the second out.
Well, Lagares has had 2 tough plays made on him from Paredes, and here from Cabrera, going away, but still has the arm strength to throw out Lagares pretty easily.
Nice stretch by Davis, too.
He's a very athletic first baseman. Now, you think he's just one of these lumbering guys that only hits home runs. He is not. Very athletic. Long stride by Lagares at the end. Didn't look like he had any discomfort swinging the bat either, which is so positive.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Duda, who got the whole thing started for the Mets in the 4th, and Adam Jones playing a little deeper this time against Lucas after he hit one over his head that last at bat. 9th double of the year for Duda. And Norris paints the inside at 95, and it's 0-2. It's the best Norris has looked all night this inning.
Pitching angry after the previous inning.
It's the best online source for Mets information, with a constant flow of Mets news and opinion, featuring game breakdowns, special features, and player profiles. Mets blog, presented by Citi, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Michael Cuddyer would be next. Well, Norris trying for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Norris, who was a snowboarder growing up, running some icy slopes this year.
See what all those pitches are. Okay, so it's 0-2. This is the reason that Norris is not having the success like he did in the second half you mentioned last year. One was a slider backdoor that Duda fouled away. This one he pulls foul sharp. Both 0-2 pitches. There's no reason for that ball to be in the strike zone. You have to bounce that pitch. Having the ability to have control with your breaking pitches out of the strike zone is also an art also.
People talk loosely about control and command, but command is not only within the strike zone, it's out of the strike zone too.
Of course. You've got to give the hitter the enticement that it is a strike, but never comes close to being one.
7th pitch of the at bat, and Duda fouls off another one. That's 5 in a row.
We've seen this from Lucas all season long. He just does not give in. Joseph and Norris are like, well, I've thrown everything I throw, so I don't know what you want me to throw.
Norris last year had the best whip of his career. Walks and hits per innings pitched 1.22. This year, coming into the night, 2.0. A whole different story. He's given up 7 hits, no walks tonight, 1 walk tonight. The foul ball parade continues for Duda.
And you say to yourself, well, why is Lucas able to stay in these at-bats longer? You see his 2-strike approach. It's different. It's different this year than last year. Last year, it was 1 swing he had. Didn't matter what the count was. Now he has a 2-strike approach of trying to get a base hit.
In many ways, he's gone back to what he was when he first got to the big leagues. It's this one well to center field. Jones going back deep in the left center field gap, and he makes a terrific catch. Well, playing a little deeper paid off for Jones. Adam Jones showing off his gold, trying to match Lagares. They each make a tremendous play in the 5th inning. Lagares met Kadire. Jones meets the wall. 3-0 Mets after 5. Jimmy Paredes, first pitch swinging, flies out to Michael Kadire, and that's how the 6th inning begins. So Paredes sees 1 pitch, flies out. Colon has now faced 20 batters, thrown a first pitch strike to 17 of the 20. Adam Jones comes to bat. You see the pitch count from Bartolo. Just makes it look so easy. He's got 4 straight starts without walking anybody. Last Met to go 5 straight starts without walking anybody. Brett Saberhagen, 1994, a year where Sabes had more wins than walks. He had 14 wins, 13 walks in the '94 season. Lone walked a batter in his first start this year. He's now gone 32 innings without walking anybody else. He goes upstairs to get a swinging strike on Adam Jones, 0-2.
I think you already mentioned it, but I think it's worth re-mentioning. Good high fastball by Colon. this would be the 7th team Cologne's been with a chance to beat the Orioles.
No pitcher has ever beaten the same team pitching for 7 different teams, and he could do that tonight. He beat the Orioles 5 times as an Indian, once as a White Sox, twice as an Angel, 2 with the Red Sox, 1 with the Yankees, 1 with the A's. And this is his first start against Baltimore as a Met. 1-2 to Adam Jones. And he gets him chasing the slider. Strikeout number 6 for Bartolo. 2 out in the 6th.
See what happens when you have a pitcher on top of his game when he's ahead in the count. Where's that pitch? It's a pitch that Jones can't put in play. You work very hard as a pitcher to get up in the count. Why? Because you don't want to have to throw another strike, and he didn't dare to get the great Jones out.
So 2 out and nobody on. Bartolo's now retired 8 in a row. Last man to reach was Chris Davis, who singled in the 4th. Orioles got the first 2 men on in the 4th, and then Bartolo did a great job slithering out of trouble, including a terrific defensive play. And a big cut by Davis, 0-1. Well, since 2012, only Miguel Cabrera has hit more home runs than Chris Davis, who hit 53 2 years ago. It's presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter promo code NYM for free entry.
Edwin Encarnacion, probably the only name up there that the casual baseball fan would not know, and in fact he was hurt for most of last year, or maybe he would be leading that list.
By the way, there's another list for Chris Davis. During that same period of time since 2012, no player in the major leagues has struck out more often than Chris Davis. He's already struck out once tonight, 36 times this season. And Bartolo's ahead of him 1-2. Off the left side, and that'll go out of play.
Well, you know, Gary, it tells you a little about what happens and how long sometimes it takes with the maturation of a power hitter. The Mets are watching it with Lucas Duda, and certainly the Orioles have reaped the benefits of Chris Davis starting in Texas, really struggling for 3-4 years, and being sent to Baltimore, where he's blossomed.
Davis and Duda the same age, both 29 years old. 1-2. Just missed inside. Cologne thought he was going to get that call from Jeff Kellogg, who has called a lot of strikes tonight.
Yeah, he's gotten that call all night. Again, that pitch that comes back. I think this is inside. But boy, he's been calling it.
Struck him out. 7 strikeouts for Cologne. He's now retired 9 in a row. Cologne thriving on Cinco de Mayo. 3-0 Mets. Things not going well for the Phillies. Chase Utley sitting tonight, and Ryan Sandberg says he'll sit him again tomorrow, hitting 103.
Wow. They had a team meeting, didn't they? Also, Ryan Sandberg.
Michael Kadire leads off the home 6th inning. Meanwhile, Kelly Johnson leads the Braves in home runs as a part-time player. 6 home runs now for the now and former Brave.
Happy for Craig Counsell in Milwaukee, but sad for Ron Renicky, a good baseball man, and you know they had winning seasons every time he was there. They were in the postseason a couple times, but the end of last year and the beginning of this year has not worked out.
Well, you know, they gave Counsell about as difficult a task as you could have. His first 2 games as manager facing Kershaw and Greinke. Well, they won last night, despite the fact Kershaw pitched well. They got 3 runs in the 8th. And Counsell got his first win, and tonight they're even with Greinke in the 2nd.
And remember, Greinke played for Milwaukee for a short time, and he was 16-2 in that building that he's pitching into tonight.
The other development tonight, and we're not sure exactly what this means yet. Is that a hat catch?
Yeah,
oh,
the hat works.
Nicely done. That's a rarely seen feat. Kadire pulls one down to 3rd, and Machado's got it. 1 out. In Washington tonight, Steven Strasburg pulled after 3 innings. No reason given yet. Miami 2, Washington 1, and Strasburg out.
Well, that's either there's something happened on the field or in the dugout, or you said there was a tiny rain delay in the beginning. It can't be that. Or you know, something doesn't feel right physically.
Here's Murphy, who's 2 for 2. Murphy drove in the Mets' first run since Friday in the 4th inning. Kevin Plawecki added a 2-run double for a 3-run lead. 4 multi-hit games for Murphy now in his last 9, and he hits this one to center field, chasing Jones back. He's got this one lined up, and that's the 2nd out.
I'll tell you, you know, if you're watching and you're an Oriole fan, or you're Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick were in the booth tonight for the Orioles, you get to watch Adam Jones play all season long. I bet you it's a thrill.
Those guys are just happy to do a game with some people in the ballpark. It's been a while.
Bordy's my old teammate from Oakland, one of the great guys of all time, and Gary Thorne, always around in the 80s when he was doing Mets games.
Flores pops one foul down the left side. And the nice thing about it for us is we're in the booth next door to Gary, and Gary doesn't need a microphone to broadcast.
Got some serious pipes.
So we can hear just about everything Gary says through the wall.
Gary and I used to, when he was with the Mets, he and I used to, on the road, we'd go skating together. Because he is from Maine, I'm from Massachusetts. We both loved to play hockey when we were kids, and there were some hotels, one in Houston that we used to stay at, that had a rink inside the hotel.
Gary Thorne is also the only Mets broadcaster that I know of who had a locker in the locker room, because he'd shag before games.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. We must have been all over him for it, but he didn't care.
I don't think that would happen today. Right at the shortstop, Cabrera, and he throws out Flores to end the inning. 1-2-3 inning for Norris. He's now retired 8 in a row, but the Mets have a 3-0 lead after 6. Seventh inning, 3-0 New York. Delmon Young leads off against Bartolo Colon. Colon made an incredible play. Well, maybe not incredible, maybe that's the wrong word, but an incredibly important play on a dribbler hit by Delmon Young his last time up. First and second, nobody out. Ball hit well over toward third base, and Colon got there, made the play, took his time, got an out, and was able to work his way through a difficult inning and hasn't allowed a base runner since.
I've said it before, in this early part of the season, watching the Mets starting pitchers field their position has been a delight. They not only have gotten to balls, but they've known what to do with it. I remember Dylan G turned a double play on a ball to his right earlier in the year.
Little flare. Herrera won't get to it, and it's a leadoff hit for Delmon Young. So that snaps a string of 9 in a row retired by Colon. The 5th hit he's allowed tonight.
Fastball's supposed to be away. It's up and in. Now, if it's down and in, he won't be able to handle it. But up and in, he's strong enough to get the ball there. And Colon, his reaction, don't get underneath the baseball. Stay on top.
So Young at first, nobody out. Caleb Joseph, the batter, been up twice and struck out both times, and yanks that one foul. There's another thing that the Met pitching staff has done that I don't think we've talked enough about. The Mets coming into the game, their staff had walked 51 batters in 26 games, which is the fewest walks ever through the first 26 games in Mets history. But not only is it the fewest, it's the fewest by a lot. The previous low was 65. This year, 51. It's an enormous difference.
No, especially from last year, Gary, when walks were a problem for this Mets team. Joe Maddon's Cubs are doing a lot of the same over there in Chicago.
See them next week. Mets will be at Wrigley Field for 4 games. And Colon ahead on Joseph, 1-2.
Is there a pitching coach, Chris Bosio?
I believe it is.
With the Chicago Cubs. Good man.
Did some good pitching in his days with Milwaukee.
He had a no-no, I believe, in his career.
Colon has kept his pitch count down, 81 pitches, working in the 7th inning. Nobody up in the Mets bullpen. Young at first and nobody out. Travis Snyder on deck. 1-2. Struck him out. Third time tonight that Colon has struck out Joseph. That's his 8th of the game, matching his season high.
Well, he said he's not going to get underneath that ball, and he got on top of it, and see how that ball sank at the last minute. I mean, that ball took almost a left turn, and Joseph upset. 2-seam fastball, turns it over just a bit, and down and in on Joseph.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Travis Snyder, who has one of the 5 Orioles hits, a single to right back in the 2nd, and he takes a strike.
Fast hitters about Colon, and they say the same thing every time. We know he throws strikes. He can't pick it up because he hides the baseball so well, and you wouldn't believe how much movement he has. They all say almost the same thing, just in different ways. And this one, another pitch with tons of movement down.
Well, he's less than 3 weeks shy of his 42nd birthday, and he is becoming more and more of a phenomenon as he continues his tenure in the Mets uniform. Ahead on Snyder, 0-2.
I mean, my brother's playing those over 40 leagues where the guy who's pitching is 42 and lobbing it over the plate's got a decent breaking ball. I mean, this guy's getting big league hitters out, shutting them out.
In some ways, better than he's been in a decade. I mean, he came up as a hard thrower. Kevin Gossman looking on from the Orioles bullpen. But he's become more and more refined as a pitcher ever since he hit his rejuvenation point with the A's a couple of years ago. I mean, I guess it first started with the Yankees, right? When he had his elbow worked on, however that was, with injections of oxygenated blood, whatever the procedure was. The fact of the matter is he's come back and been able to perform at a level that's gotten only better over the last 3 years.
It's almost like he's just figured out how he can get people out with what he has to work with right now.
0-2 to Snyder. Got him looking. Strikeout number 9 for Bartolo Colon.
The pitch starts right at Snyder's hip, so he gives up right at the start, and it just shifts over there, just a ruler's length, which is enough to get it into Jeff Kellogg's strike zone.
Season high 9 strikeouts for Colon. 2 out. Young still at first. Now Everett Cabrera, who hit the fly ball on which Lagares made that brilliant catch in the 5th. First action in the Mets bullpen. Buddy Carlisle gets up. Meanwhile, Alejandro De Aza has come out on deck. He'll pinch hit if Cabrera can keep the inning going. Ball and a strike to Cabrera. Here's De Aza, who has played most of the left field for the Orioles this season, but sitting in the last 3 games. Right at Herrera. Another scoreless inning for Bartolo Colon. He has thrown 7 shutout innings tonight and scattered 5 hits. 7th inning stretch time at Citi Field. The Mets with a 3-0 lead. And as we get set for the 7th inning stretch and the singing of God Bless America, let's send it to public address announcer Alex Anthony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps as we honor our great nation and all of the men and women who help keep us safe and free with the singing of God Bless America. Please welcome NYPD Officer Makia Brown.
God bless America. Land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, Makia Brown.
SNY is looking for two fans to compete against the best. Think you have what it takes to outsmart the brains of the booth and win $5,000? Then come to Citi Field for SNY's open audition for Beat the Booth presented by Citi. Saturday, May 16th, starting at 9 a.m.
By the way, I just want it to be known that I have unilaterally named Howie the captain of our team.
How can you do that? You don't have that right.
Yeah, I do. I have seniority.
Okay.
Plawecki hits one down to first. Nicely handled by Chris Davis for the first out.
By the way, you guys will win in the landslide. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly
okay,
why.
go ahead.
There will be two people who know everything about the Mets.
Right.
They're going to be going up against those guys. I would say they might even know more than you and Howie know about the Mets.
Right.
But they're going to choke. It's on live TV. It's on TV. People that are on TV for a living had a hard time being on TV.
Now, my anticipation that we're going to get the Ken Jennings of Mets trivia.
Oh, there you go.
And we're going to be toast.
Well, you don't have to put the answer in the form of a question.
Herrera hits it deep to right center. Back in the gap goes Adam Jones, and he runs down another one. Well, Jones saw Lagares make one great catch, and Jones has been pulling out all the stops since.
Just stop the baseball game. Have Jones and Lagares go one-on-one.
Skills competition.
Have someone with a fungo and just hit it to these guys. The first one to drop one, their team loses.
Gold in evidence in center field tonight, much to the delight of Bud Norris. Nice hand for Bartolo Colon, who will get a chance to go out and pitch the 8th inning. Got a shutout working tonight. He's 0 for 2 at the plate with a couple of strikeouts. Well, Norris has responded after giving up 3 runs in the 4th by retiring 10 in a row. Well, the way Colon's been going, might not be enough.
My advice right now for Bartolo, no more swinging. Save it. Save it for the pitcher.
Yeah, even if you get on, you don't want to run the bases, right? The standing ovation for the fair ball as Cabrera throws him out. 11 in a row retired by Norris, and now Colon will go back to the mound for the 8th with a 3-0 lead. Here we go to the 8th inning. Bartolo Colon and the Mets with a 3-0 lead. Alejandro De Aza will bat for Bud Norris, who wound up pitching a decent 7 innings tonight, but Colon has been that much better. 90 pitches through 7, pitching in the 8th inning for the first time this season. And De Aza takes ball 1. That's will keep the Torai busy in the bullpen. Carlos and Alex. Do you prefer the Torai or the Twin Towers?
None of them are towers, and they're not twins, so
Right.
I go with the Torai.
Colon has not had a double-digit strikeout game in 8 years. Ball and a strike to De Aza, who has struggled at the plate this year and lost some playing time, hitting just .219.
You know, he had a strong year once he came over to play the 20 games, but 2 seasons ago in the leadoff slot for Chicago, he had 17 home runs and 62 RBI.
Fly ball, left center. Over comes Lagares with Kadire, and Kadire this time makes the catch. Well, after they came together in the gap earlier in the game, neither one shy this time, and Kadire makes the catch.
Well, this one to me was an easier play for Kadire. I think Lagares might have gotten in the way there, but he wasn't sure if Michael was going to get there. You have to remember that every game that Juan Lagares goes into with Kadire to his right and Granderson to his left, this is earlier when he made that fantastic catch, he's thinking, I got to cover more ground than ever.
But isn't that the center fielder's job? Catch anything he can
Yes.
reach?
Maybe Michael has a clause in his contract for putouts.
4th time through for Machado, who socks one deep to left center. Back goes Kadire for a look, but that's gone. 5th home run of the year for Manny Machado, and that breaks up the shutout. After Colon went 7 1/3 without allowing a run, Machado's 5th home run of the year makes it 3-1 New York. He's 22 years old, got off to a rough start this year, but one of the best players in the American League.
Yeah, well, this kid makes it look easy. I mean, he just has a long, languid, beautiful swing. He catches one of the rare mistakes inside. See, his hand came off the bat on that home run. Still dumped it in the Party City deck. He's hoping it stays in.
Now Paredes lifts one to left center. This one's playable. Kadire looks at Lagares this time and then goes back and makes the catch. He just wanted to make sure that Lagares was not charging his way again. That's a big batter for Colon to retire, because now Adam Jones comes to the plate, not as the tying run, but it looks like it may not be Colon to face him. After seeing those 2 long fly balls, one that left the ballpark, Terry Collins coming out, and we may see Carlos Torres coming to face Adam Jones.
I have no problem with that move. I think seeing those 2 fly balls, like you said, he gets a great round of applause.
Another tremendous effort for Bartolo Colon. He's in line for his 5th win of the year if the bullpen can get him 4 outs. We'll be right back. Our coverage begins on SNY at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Carlos Torres comes in to face Adam Jones with 2 out and nobody on in the 8th, and Jones trying to drop down a bunt with his team down by 2 runs, and the power hitting Davis on deck. There are the numbers on Colon. 5 straight starts now without allowing a walk. First Met to do that since Brett Saberhagen in '94.
Amazing numbers. 71 of those 97 strikes. Just a phenomenal amount. Carlos Torres comes in his last outing against Washington, his best all season. 2 innings, 2 strikeouts, no runs.
6 up and 6 down in that outing, as Jones tries to stop the swing and did so to the satisfaction of Brian O'Nora. A ball and a strike. Jones tonight 1 for 3, flicked a single to right field in the 4th inning, but otherwise Colon was able to hold him in check. One of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. And Jones bounces one to the left side. Who's going to get it? Flores on the backhand, throws him out by half a stride. Side retired. Nice play by Wilmer Flores to get the Mets through the top of the 8th. 3-1 New York. Play cash for life from the New York Lottery with a top prize of $1,000 every day for life. By State Farm, tonight's State Farm agent of the game is Alan Wheeler of Brooklyn. Contact Alan at WheelerAgency.net. And by Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. How appropriate with the Mets playing the Orioles that we show the aftermath of the '69 World Series.
Shocked the world, right, Gary?
28-year-old Brian Mattis in to pitch. Curtis Granderson leads off in the home 8th.
Well, Brian Mattis was the #1 pick, 4th overall at the University of San Diego for the Orioles. Tried to make him a starter, did not work out. He's pitched 128 ball games before this year out of the bullpen for the O's.
Now in his 7th season as an Oriole. Granderson pops one up in foul ground. Machado coming down to the railing but runs out of room. There was talk about Mattis when the Mets were looking for a lefty during spring training this year. They wound up acquiring Jerry Blevins and Alex Torres.
Again, I don't really think of him as a guy that's a specialty lefty like they got in Jerry Blevins. There's Familia. Of course, Jerry's not pitching now with a broken arm. Mattis is a guy who's got a good changeup, decent breaking ball, throws pretty hard.
Throws a lot of changeups, particularly to the righties. Lagarrison due to follow, and he gets one at the knees for a strike to Granderson. Bud Norris went the first 7, allowed 3 runs, 7 hits. and by any measure his best start this season to date, but not enough against Cologne the way he pitched. There's your Mets box score presented by StubHub. Mets scored all 3 of their runs in the 4th. Kevin Plawecki with a 2-run double after Daniel Murphy broke the Mets 21-inning scoring drought with an RBI single. 2 more hits for Murph tonight. And Granderson takes strike 3 called at the knees. So Mattis fans the first man to face him. 1 down in the home 8th. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, today was about a lot more than just baseball for the New York Mets as they paid tribute often to the slain NYPD officer Brian Moore. They wore NYPD hats during batting practice today, and prior to the game held a moment of silence. Now, Moore, coincidentally, was actually a huge Orioles fan, and his favorite player was Chris Davis. Davis was unaware of this until he came to the ballpark today, and he said, you know, you find something like that out, and it just hits you like a ton of bricks. All of a sudden, you have this connection to this tragedy. Said it just breaks your heart even more. And with what the Orioles have already gone through with Baltimore last week, he said this has been a week that has really put a lot in perspective just how important baseball really is. He's tried to do his part. He signed a baseball for the family of Brian Moore, and the Orioles trying to do their part as well. The entire team signing a jersey that they will also give to his family.
It's quite a coincidence, but a great reaction on the part of the Orioles and Chris Davis and their entire franchise.
You know, it's what's interesting sometimes, Gary. I'll just refer to baseball, is occasionally the ball clubs and the community kind of come together, and Baltimore certainly has gone through what they're going through right now. But you and I both know '68 with the Tigers and the unrest that happened there, and Boston Strong, of course, most recently in 2013, where, boy, I don't know if the baseball team can help the community, but sometimes can be the distraction.
And never been truer than it was after 9/11 in New York. So that's Jason Garcia up in the Orioles bullpen. J.R.'s Familia getting ready for a save chance for the Mets. Lucas Duda has a double and a non-double, robbed at the wall by Adam Jones his last time up. Chris Davis will lead off in the 9th inning for Baltimore. Davis, Young, and Joseph due up against Familia, who has been perfect in save opportunities so far. That's trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. Take advantage of more strong starting pitching. This is the 4th straight game now that the Mets starter has given up 1 run or less. Started with Harvey on Saturday in his victory over the Nats.
And you're trying to go 2-2.
Neese pitched well, and so did G in losses on Saturday and Sunday. And now Cologne allowing just 1 run over 7 2/3 tonight. DeGrom tomorrow, Harvey Friday in Philadelphia.
Well, until the Mets get their full reserve of players back, and that includes number 5. Boy, Atlanta just giving it to Philadelphia. I thought this is the kind of games they were going to play all season long, to tell you the truth, Gary. You know, games where the pitching keeps them close, and they're going to have to win these close games.
1-2 from Mattis to Duda. By the way, in that Atlanta Philly game, you know, the Phillies are taking it on the chin, but not to be lost in that. Shelby Miller pitching another gem for the Braves tonight. There are your city probables tomorrow. Jacob deGrom trying to bounce back from a tough couple of starts, and he'll be opposed by Ubaldo Jimenez.
Ubaldo pitching much better than last season.
He's had a resurgent year. We've seen what he can do at his best. Duda pops one up. Machado, the only guy on the left side of the infield, and he puts it away to retire the side. So Mattis pitches a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th, and now it's on Familia to try to earn another save as we head to the 9th with the Mets up 3-1. So later, it's Chris Carlin on Sports Night after the post-game show. Isaiah Thomas, really? We'll talk lots more about that.
Well, we won't, I guess, but hopefully
Chris
they will.
Jeurys Familia goes for his major league leading 11th save tonight.
Well, you see his numbers. He pitched on Sunday. I was here as a fan.
And that's driven deep to left center by Chris Davis and gone. First pitch thrown by Familia, and Davis gets the Orioles within a run. Machado went deep in the 8th against Colon. Now Davis hits his 6th of the year, and all of a sudden this is a one-run ball game.
Well, we talked about it before, but he came up his first at bat. What makes Chris Davis so difficult to pitch to is that he has tremendous power. Hits balls to left center and left field that only right-handed power hitters can hit it to. As strong as anyone in baseball. Fastball. You think when you're down a couple of runs, the hitter's going to take a pitch? He didn't take that one.
Second home run allowed by Familia this season. Now he faces Delman Young, working with only the 1-run lead. Young is 1 for 3, dumped a single into right his last time up. Mets playing deep, no doubles. And Familia runs one inside, and is behind 2-0.
I think what happens sometimes for fans is that, interesting, Plawecki going out there, the rookie, you like to see that. He's not rattled, but it doesn't matter who your closer is. The great number 42 for the Yankees would go through 3 or 4 every single season. They go through stretches, and he's been so perfect that you just figure he's going to be perfect every single time. It doesn't work that way.
Behind on Delman Young, a dangerous hitter, 2-0. And he tops one foul. That's a surprising swing there.
2-0 with a sinker ball pitcher.
Caleb Joseph on deck, trying to avoid the dreaded golden sombrero.
Except I think Young, who has power, not as much as Davis, but he's got tremendous power too, trying to tie it up with one swing.
2-1 now to Young. And he goes after the slider and misses badly, 2-2.
Well, that's been the equalizer for Familia, is that he's always been an outstanding sinker and an indifferent slider, one that he could never control. And that one to make a good hitter look bad.
2-2 to Young. Struck him out. Went right back to the slider. Delman Young down on strikes. 1 down in the 9th.
One he threw out of the strike zone, and this one just perfect. Tight, about a 6-inch break at 45 degrees. No chance for Young.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Caleb Joseph, who came up 3 times against Bartolo Colon and struck out all 3. Joseph with 2 home runs this season. And tops the sinker foul. 97 from Familia. He's just getting started. And Joseph swings over another one at 98. The temperature's rising.
It's my favorite part of guys that close, that are good closers, is that they're all going to get punched in the nose every once in a while, Gary. It's how they respond to it.
Travis Snyder on deck. Oh, 0-2 to Caleb Joseph. Just got a piece of that slider to hang in there.
Tough place to be for Joseph, working on a tough night, facing a tough pitcher.
Kevin Gossman up in the Orioles bullpen just in case. Oh, 2 coming, quick pitch, and it's hit out to left. Gadire was playing very deep, has to race in and make the catch. That's for playing no doubles. Gadire makes sure that he prevents the single.
Well, good running catch here by Gadire. You know, it's interesting. Sometimes the lineup will get you. You're in a tight game. Kadire to lead off if this game would have gone extra innings, so maybe you keep him in there. You know, Neuenhuis with all that speed makes that look easier, but it didn't matter because Kadire got there in time.
Orioles are down to their final out. Travis Snyder, the batter, 1 for 3 tonight, and he takes up and away for ball 1. Of course, the Mets' flexibility on the bench has decreased by bringing up the third catcher, Johnny Manel, which I think makes it less likely to bring in defensive replacements.
Manel and Recker can play first base if they have to.
As can Plawecki if he needs to. Right back to Familia. And the ball game is over. The Mets break out of their scoring drought. Bartolo Colon with another tremendous effort wins his 5th. Familia saves his major league leading 11th game. And the Mets get the victory in the opener of their series from the Orioles, 3-2.
And they get all their runs in the 4th inning. Just outstanding hitting by Duda, Daniel Murphy, Wilmer Flores, and Plawecki drove in a couple with a big double in this game.
Well, pitching has been at the forefront for the Mets this season. They got just enough offense today and continue to pitch brilliantly. 4 straight games now where the Mets starters allowed either 1 run or no runs, and it took just 2 hours and 19 minutes today for the Mets to take care of the Orioles, whom they have not lost to since 2006. The Mets are now 20-9 all-time in interleague play against the Orioles. Oh, and by the way, 4-1 in the postseason. For every Mets win, the Mets Foundation is proud to contribute $2,500 to the Cass Women's Hospital and the Cass Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northshorelij.com/KIWH. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $42,500. Mets win at 3-2. Let's send it downstairs to Steve Gelb. Steve?
Thanks a lot, Gary. Here with Kevin Plawecki. Had what turned out to be the game-winning 2 RBI hit in the 4th inning, but I want to start off first with the guy you caught today, Bartolo Colon. Another stellar outing, 7 2/3, 1-run ball. What has impressed you most in the short time you've been up here catching him?
Well, he did a hell of a job today and made my job really easy back there. Pumped the strike zone, and he did a great job.
When it comes to that hit of yours in the 4th inning, looks like you really went up there looking to hack, looking to be aggressive early.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we been struggling getting some runs up on the board, so just trying to get a good pitch to hit, and luckily it fell.
It's a 5-game hitting streak for you now, and I know you've spoken to me about making the adjustments at the plate, feeling more comfortable as a major league hitter. How much more comfortable have you felt here over the last week?
I mean, confidence is definitely building, but I know it's still a work in progress. Just got to keep grinding away and hopefully continue to get some more wins along the way.
Kevin, congrats. Thanks.
Thank you.
Gary?
Kevin Plawecki helping the Mets to their big 3-run inning that put an end to their drought and gave the Mets a 3-2 victory over the Orioles tonight here at Citi Field. Mets are now 17-10 on the season. More from Flushing coming right up.